Today's Social Innovation Summit explores new approaches to expanding opportunity through family stability, education, and through reentry policy. Throughout the day, we're going to explore what opportunity means, what are the barriers, and how we can expand opportunity for all. We do realize that far too many people do lack access to opportunity, and unfortunately, the phrase that zip code partially determines your life chances is currently true. We must look at a social innovation approach that identifies new models of social change through community-driven process of piloting and testing new practices, bringing them to scale, and ultimately diffusing these practices to create systems change.
You know, I'm particularly excited about this symposium this year because it's the Price School's 90th anniversary, believe it or not. Now, recent census data show that about a quarter to a third of Americans live in poverty or in near poverty. U.S. Census data and other studies also show that the popular idea of America as the land of opportunity and equal opportunity for all is somewhat of a myth. The U.S. has one of the lowest relative levels of social mobility, and the rate of social mobility in the United States has stagnated since 1980. One key problem is the huge variation in the quality of education system depending on where a person lives. Another challenge concerns social policies that, as I mentioned, fail to support women and families in the workforce. And a third is racial discrimination and segregation based on race and income.
So pathways to opportunity can be defined in many ways. One common finding across research examining inequality and opportunity is that opportunity is spatially stratified. It varies from place to place. Like many cities in the US, LA is racially stratified, right? These are sort of separate bands of color. We don't have all of the dots mixed together throughout our city. And what this figure is showing you on that left bar is 29%, so nearly a third of Black children grew up in very high poverty neighborhoods. And strikingly, this has changed very little. The right set of bars is showing you kids born in the mid-1980s and 1990s. And the bars look nearly identical. So this slide shows a map of Los Angeles, and it examines the economic outcome of children who grew up in low-income families. But their earnings depend on where they grew up. So here, the orange and red shading indicates worse outcomes, lower income in adulthood, and blue shading indicates better outcome. The neighborhood one grows up in matters for a variety of outcomes: educational attainment, teen parenthood, mental and physical health, incarceration and criminality, economic outcomes in young adulthood, and also where people live as young adults, whether this sort of cycle of neighborhood poverty is repeated. In a recent study with Jennifer Candipan, I find that the schools serving high and low income neighborhoods have very unequal resources. Neighborhood violent crime can profoundly shape the lives of families and children. Children's life chances can be dramatically altered if they are the victim or the perpetrator of violent crime. And even if they are not directly involved, crime has consequences. Recent research shows us that children face challenges getting to school safely in many cities, which reduces their attendance and ultimately their educational achievement. There are a variety of place-based programs that improve housing and infrastructure. For example, the Promise Zone programs target neighborhoods for community revitalization, including our 2 Promise Zones here in LA. We can also think about investing in people, even if we can't improve the material conditions of their neighborhood. Inequality in pathways to opportunity is one of these social problems that, in my view, needs social innovation. We need new solutions to these long-standing problems.